Hey YouTubers, Nomus RC. I had seen in one of the comments somebody kind of wanted me to go over the T-bone racing stuff that I got for the Notorious a little bit more in detail. Kind of the positives, negatives, etc., etc., what comes with it. So let's go over it. I got a lot of T-bone racing stuff for this vehicle. I did the rear bumper, and I did the front bumper, and then I did the chassis tower-to-tower brace. So that means from this shock tower to this shock tower is braced. Not gonna lie, they're not the cheapest thing in the world. I'm making okay money right now, so not a big deal. The bumpers are around 20 to 30 bucks a piece. The chassis brace is 46 bucks. Again, not the cheapest thing in the world. Just a review on the company itself. They kind of screwed me over a little bit on shipping and things. They said it was in stock. I purchased it. Then almost 7 days later I emailed them, where's my stuff? They said that manufacturing was behind and that it would be a few more days. Then I had to email them again, and then they refunded my shipping, and I had it in a couple of days from that. So it took about a week and a half to get it, and they refunded my shipping. So you know what? They were looking out for the customer. They did do something for the inconvenience. So props to them for that. I still will use them, and I still think they're a decent company. So first let's examine this. This is the chassis brace, tower to tower. It has a carbon fiber square block in the center of it, inside here, where my thumb is. It's a complete square of carbon fiber, all the way from the front to the back. And then they put their super durable plastic, almost a rubberized durable plastic, rails on each side of it. You do have to reuse your top plastic piece right here. And then they have, so there was a little bit of complication. If you can see it here. This block, not the carbon fiber piece and not these I-beams, this plastic block right here that my fingertip's on, you see how it sticks out right here on the bottom? It was sticking out on the top. And it was making this piece not line up correctly when I put it in here and when I tried to fit the thing that goes in front of the shock tower to mount it all together. So there was actually some quality control there. They had this piece installed upside down. And it took me about 30 minutes to figure out what the hell was going on. The rear piece was installed correctly. So that's kind of a lowdown. You have this piece here. This goes all the way up to your shock tower. And then this mounts on the outside of the shock tower to it with 6 screws. And then in the rear, you have this piece. And then you have this piece here that mounts on the outside of the shock tower up against it. And they do give you all the screws and mounting hardware. And they actually gave you a couple of extra screws, which is kind of nice in case you lose one or who knows what. So as far as installation goes, this thing's actually not too bad to install. Once I figured out, hey, you got to flip this plastic block around. They kind of fucked with me a little bit there. You do have to remove one of your body post mounts right here. There's 2 screws up front. Once you remove that, you can finagle this thing down into where it's supposed to go, and then you'll actually push your shock tower back and slide it down in. And you really have to kind of mash it down in there. And that's good because it means that there's zero flex. I mean, when you take this thing and push on it, I'm not joking you, there's literally zero flex. I've grabbed many of people's RCs back here with my left hand and back here with my right hand, and you can flex them. This thing does not flex whatsoever. So, and it's custom made to fit. Fits beautifully once you, again, make sure that everything is correct. The way that I figured this block out was by looking at their pictures online. So if you run into an issue, look at their pictures online. They have plenty of pictures. And so you put that in, and then you grab your front piece here that has these nice little cutouts that slide into here. You can actually see where I had it on here. Oops, that was actually upside down. You snap that into place right there. And I mean, look at how beefy these pieces of plastic are. I mean, they're thicker than the shock tower itself. The outer piece is about as thick as the shock tower. The inner piece is way thicker. Okay, so little tidbit on this. Guess it's good that I made this video for you guys. This piece that secures the rear, yeah, it didn't fit at all. So, let me give you a lowdown on it. So, it was square right here. And same on this side, it was square. I had to use my Dremel and completely round this edges out because it 100% does not fit any Notorious in the fucking world. So I have no idea why they did it like that. And mine's a V3, it's the 2018, so I guess maybe that's it. They made it for an earlier version. They definitely didn't make it for the 2019 because the 2019 just came out. It came out after I bought this stuff. So, I don't know. But anyway, your wing mounts right here have this curved piece of plastic. It's right there. It's right where your screws mount. It's curved. See, it's curved right there. Well, when you go to put this down in here, I'm just going to go ahead and install it. So when you put that down in there, if these were, it may not really look, well, you know, you can see it on video a little bit. But if those were a squared mount, it was like 2 millimeters short of fitting down inside of here. It did not work. So, I mean, again, to me, no big deal, but I want to let you guys know there is some modification here. Not a lot. It's very easy, very simplistic. But if you watch this video, you'll know to do it right out of the box. You won't sit there scratching your head and wondering. So that's the chassis brace. Other than that, you put your screws in it. You put your body mount back on here, body post, and that's it. You mount it up. It's easy. Except for, you know, like I said, I had a piece that was flipped over, and I had to modify this rear piece. So some of the other things that I've done to this vehicle, I did RPM for the wing mount because I've snapped the wing mount completely off. Now that I've done RPM, I've ran about 4 6S packs of beating the living shit out of this thing, and I got no complaints. The only thing that I did have to do is oh wow, cool, you can actually see it here on video. I'm going to use one of my screwdrivers. This nut that you see right here is not supposed to be here. So that nut is actually what's holding. Alright, so these screws right here that hold this wing mount, right here and right here, those screws are just supposed to screw into the differential housing. Yeah, that is not beefy enough. For the abuse that I do on this vehicle, I kept stripping these out and having to put in a new differential housing, which is pretty annoying for 2 holes that are all the way up top and have nothing to do with the differential itself. So I put a longer screw all the way through the wing mount, and I had to use a soldering iron to melt some plastic here so that I could fit a nut, a nylock nut, in here and actually secure it all the way. So it's got a, and I did that on both sides. So the 2 main screws that hold my wing mount are bolt all the way through and a nylock nut on the end of it, because I'm done playing around with that. Because once your wing gets loose, you will absolutely snap that wing mount off. I haven't snapped off the RPM one though. Again, this is an, if you can see it here, this is an RPM wing mount. I've snapped off multiple A-arms. Uppers, lowers, rears, you name it. I've broke them. I put on RPM all the way around. Upper and lower in the front. Lowers in the rear. I did do T-bone racing mud flaps, and those have really, really helped. I have not cleaned back here at all. And I run through dirt, mud, all kinds of shit. It's done really, really well, so I really recommend those for the couple of bucks that they are. Let me pull this chassis brace out of here because it's not mounted yet, and I will just go ahead and show you guys again the bumpers since we're already at it. Here's the front T-bone racing bumper. She's got her share of abuse, but it's perfect. I've had no issues out of that bumper whatsoever. There's the rear one. Installation on these is really straightforward. I'm not even going to show you anything about the installation. But the thing that I do like about these as opposed to the ones that I've had on 8-scale buggies is they actually do give you upper mounts instead of just the bumper itself. Normally on the 8-scale buggies it mounts with 4 screws underneath the chassis and it's just this bumper. You don't get an upper support. These vehicles, they're so heavy, they really need this upper support as well as having the bumper itself. Wheelie bar is held up really well. This plastic on this wheelie bar is it's ridiculously thick. Overall, you know, once they refunded my shipping, I was at $110 for the T-bone racing stuff, and that's for the chassis brace, and then the front and rear bumpers, and then the mud flaps. Again, a little bit salty, I understand. Now on eBay, I got a set of upper and lower front RPM arms, and then the rear A arms for like $46, and then for an extra like 13 or 16 bucks, I had to buy another set of front, upper, and lower. Kind of weird how they put that combination together. You see a combo pack, like I said, it'll come with one front, upper, and lower, and both rears. You buy that combo pack, and then you have to buy one more front, upper, and lower. So that's my current upgrades, guys. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I've ran a lot of 6S packs through it now that I've done these really, really massive upgrades, and she's holding up well. I have a few screws backing out. I'm still beating it just as hard as I have in the past. But this is for that subscriber. I really appreciate you subscribing. And you asked a question and you wanted me to make a video about my TBR upgrades. You know what? Here you go. And I'm going to do you an extra solid, and I'm going to show you my Senton and the TBR upgrades that I did to it. So here's the Senton. We have mud flaps from T-bone Racing. Boom, boom. We have a front bumper from T-bone Racing and a rear bumper from T-bone Racing. Now, I can tell you this right now. These did not add very much weight to my vehicle. The Notorious got quite a bit of weight added. I would say total, probably an extra 3/4 to a pound. Just quite a bit on an RC. Because of what I took off of this RC to equip these upgrades, I don't really think that I gained any weight. I didn't weigh it, but I have a pretty good sense of what something weighs. And these do really well. So, you have this huge, thick block right here. And then this little thing mounts to 2 screws to this block that holds in your hinge pins on both sides. This replaces your normal hinge pin holder. And then this thing's actually loose. This doesn't connect to anything. It just has a rubber piece right here where my thumb is at the end of it. And that rubber piece just comes in contact with the bumper. Okay? And it's the same principle back here. I get focus to work here. Is you just have this piece right here is completely separate. And it just has a rubber piece at the end of it where my index finger is here and my thumb. And that rubber piece just hits into this bumper. And again, you have this huge, almost as thick as my freaking finger, block of plastic that replaces your hinge pin holder. See, and this thing's just independent. And we'll put it on its side here so that you can see. Standard TBR, it comes, you know, it replaces your front bumper and it wraps around underneath the chassis so you're not beating up your chassis anymore. They give you new screws, longer screws, all 4 of them. This back here is actually a 2-piece that creates the rear bumper, but again covering your chassis plate. I really like the look of it. I think that is one of the most beautiful short course truck chassis that I have ever seen in my life. And I have beat the crap out of this. I do not run this vehicle on 6S. These tires are very fucking small in diameter. If you run this on 6S, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, seriously. You will shred tires. You will blow all kinds of drivetrain parts. This vehicle is just not designed for 6S. It can totally handle it, and you can have fun if you can just hold back a little bit, but I don't hold back. So I just floor it and floor it and floor it, and then all of a sudden either a tire is shredded or something has horribly gone wrong. So 4S is more than enough. This thing is crazy fast. It keeps up with my buddy's Talion. It outruns my Notorious. Totally fine on 4S. There's what it looks like with these new bumpers with the body on. Those beautiful Badlands style tires. And those are my current TBR upgrades. I do not think that I will be doing any more TBR upgrades. Well, again, commenter, subscriber, I really appreciate you showing interest, and if you guys ever have questions, I will be more than willing to answer them. Alright guys, as usual, subscribe, watch the other videos, just all around enjoy RC. So there we have it, you guys, the Senton and the Notorious RPM and T-Bone Racing upgrades. Kind of showed them all to you. Really no problems with installation other than this tower-to-tower brace. And then I just want to make sure that you guys understand. On durability, I've got a ton of packs on this vehicle now, and almost a ton of packs of LiPo batteries through this vehicle now after these upgrades. Not a fucking thing is broke now. You know, so I'm pretty happy. I guess I should just say flat out really happy. Everything's holding up well. Very, very well. And again, shout out to that commenter. Here you go, man. Beautiful, beautiful upgrades. Quite a cost expense over here on the Notorious. Fairly cheap on the Senton. But this thing is, I would say, from out of the box, we're looking at probably about 30% more durable on the Senton, and we're probably looking at 50 to 60% more durable on the Notorious. Is it worth it? That's up to you. Subscribe.